Y'all gonna let me talk? That bitch word.
I said it. What are you gonna do about it? Bitch, I don't got no Nike. You can't tell me. Rude girl. You don't want no smoke with me, mommy, okay? Don't make my accent me no like it.
You'll be back in the morning when the sun starts to rise. So mama, don't stress your mind. So mama, don't stress your mind.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning into my channel. It's your girl Nesha here, back in the cut once again. So today's review is going to be Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This is season 8, episode 10. So we start this episode off with Young Jock, Spice, and Carly Bread, and they're at Young Jock's radio station. So Spice basically came to talk about all the opportunities that she had coming up, one of them being going to Africa for the very first time, okay? And she will also be the first female headliner for a show in Gambia, and I can't remember the name of that show, but she will be doing that as well as going to Trinidad, okay? And she has invited everyone to come out, all expense paid, to Trinidad while she will be performing. So it's really cool. And she ends up telling Carly Bread, hey, I want you to host this for me because I'm booked and busy. I don't have the time. Now, we all know why Jock is apprehensive. He does not really want to be his girl to be in the same place with Carly, especially after the cabin trip. And so Spice is like, look, I really want you to come. Jock's like, yo, I don't know if I'm really going to come. And so we pretty much leave that scene there. Spice walks out early from the interview and she's like, look, see you in Trinidad. Over to the church where we're at Scrapp de Leon. He is at a church. I can't remember the name of this church, but they raised $120,000 in order to get 30 non-violent individuals out of jail. So it's a pretty cool thing that they're doing. They're also going to clean them up, getting their hair done, face beat, so that when they go back to their family for the very first time, they look like something. Now, within this event, he meets Sierra for the very first time. Akbar V introduced Sierra and Scrapp. And I don't know why I feel like maybe that's going to be his new love interest within Love and Hip Hop Atlanta season 8. I just have that feeling for some reason, especially later on when she's at the shop and she has flowers and she's talking about a secret admirer. I don't know. I just seemed like he was a little bit attracted to her as well as she was to him. But I could be wrong, all right? But anyway, they're talking about the fact that he was in jail recently and he had an opportunity to get his time cut in half, but his family member did not come through for him. And she was like, who's your family member? He said, the good guy. We're talking about Stevie J. And she's like, oh my gosh, so you mean to tell me the good guy didn't get his family member out? That's crazy. And we hear that all the time. Sometimes family members, either they hating on you, they don't want to see you doing better, you know, or they kind of sick of your crap because you probably end up in jail all the time. You're always bumping your head and they're just tired of being the person that you got to rely on in order to bail you out. So there could be two different scenarios in this situation as to why he did not get Scrapp de Leon out. But this makes Sierra look at him in a different light because she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that. Now, Sierra also talks to Akbar V in order to do a meetup with her, Tokyo, and Spice because she wants to rectify the situation that happened when it was, I think, Free Mike or something. I can't remember that event, but it was in Buckhead, okay? So she wants them all to meet up together and to talk it out because she's cool with all of them and it's putting her in an awkward space. And Akbar seems to be, you know, okay with or open to meeting with these girls in order to fix whatever the issue is. So Shay goes over to Shekinah's house and she's pissed off. Now she tells us that she has to remind us that she got fired from her last gig on behalf of Pooh because Pooh told her to do something as a grown-ass woman she didn't think for herself and she did it. Alright, so she got fired. So then she ended up picking up another DJ gig. And this gig had her coming in the house at like 3 in the morning. And when she got there, she saw condoms somewhere around her bed and she was pissed. She called up Shekinah. Shekinah says, boo, come over. She goes over to Shekinah's house. So now her and Shekinah are having this conversation like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe he's doing this. We find out he's done it before, okay? So again, he's doing this again. And she's like, oh my gosh, well then, Shekinah's like, so what are you going to do? How are you going to handle it? She said, I don't know. Because, you know, I feel like a fool if I stay. I'll be foolish if I stay, but then if I leave, I'll be lonely. And she's like, look, yeah, you messed around and had a baby with this dude, so you're going to have to deal with him for 18 years, but you got to stick around for his crap. And so I just thought that was so funny because a lot of females go through this same situation. They end up staying with these nothing dudes without getting out of the relationship, finding themselves, rebuilding their self-esteem because you're going to lose it if you're staying with a dude that's cheating on you. And so she kind of is like, well, look, you know what I mean? You got to figure something out. Jock and Kendra, they're at her law office and they're sitting outside talking about everything that went down. He's trying to get in her good graces because of everything that happened back at the cabin. He brings her food. She's happy. She's, you know, in a good place. And then she also tells him, I heard on your radio show that you've been invited to a Trinidad trip, but you don't want to go. He's like, yeah, I don't want to go. Did you see how the last trip went? I mean, literally, you were about to fight the girl that I used to talk to, and it was all childish, and I just don't want to be a part of that. And she, of course, talked him back into going. I'm starting to either think maybe she's trying to force him to just be comfortable with his new thing, or she's just indulging in the mess. Because it's like he's trying to avoid you being in awkward situations, but you keep trying to go in that thing full force. And I can see if you go in it and you know, be a woman about yours, you're mature, you're not even indulging in this bull crap, but you actually entertain Carly's mess. And so you keep convincing this guy to take you to these places, to be around this girl, but then you're not even, you know, maintaining your composure while you're there. You're actually like stooping down to Carly's level, and that's what he's trying to avoid. But anyway, of course, she has talked him into going to Trinidad, so he's going to go. You know, they also talk about going back to her office, and I guess getting it in, but what caught me by surprise, I was like, so you never been in her office, Jack? How long y'all been together? It's been a few years. But she was like, he made a comment. He said, are your walls thin? And she said, well, I don't have neighbors because I'm in a corner office. So I was like, okay, so I'm assuming he hasn't been in her, you know, job. Maybe this is just a scene for Love and Hip Hop. You know, I don't know. So now we're at Sierra's shop. We talk about the secret admirer that I told you about earlier, okay, which I think is Scrapp de Leon. We talk about that. She talks about the fact that she's not with BK no more. She's not going to entertain him. He has cut her for the last time. We also talk about BK and Pooh and how that something potentially happened there, which led to her not wanting to be there with him no more. She's done. Shekinah also talks about Shay Mack and how Shay Mack is in this awkward situation, and we find out that Tokyo is supposed to be doing a session with Main Man, and so this is a perfect opportunity for Shekinah to go over there and confront him about everything that he did. I feel like Shekinah was well out of her league. First of all, boo, what are you doing? This is not your relationship. Shay Mack is a grown woman. Why is she constantly being influenced or controlled by other women around her? I'm lost on that. You know what I mean? Shay Mack, grab yourself a backbone and handle your shit. You know, you don't need to be over here trying to get everybody else to handle your business for you. You are a woman. That's your relationship. You lay down, had a baby with him. Nobody had to direct you on how to do that. So why is it that Shekinah and Pooh are able to easily influence you or easily control you? I'm not even understanding that. I get that, you know, Shekinah just wants to be there for her friend, but enough is enough. I wish one of my friends would go over there and try to correct my man or my previous boyfriend. It's like, what the hell? That's stupid. That's me. I'm a woman. I handle my own stuff. But anyway, so she done planned to go to Tokyo session with Main Man in order for her to kind of put him in his place, I guess. Well, then Pooh has walked up. She's been invited by Mimi. I'm starting to feel like Mimi just likes bull crap. You know, I'm starting to think she likes mess because she keeps inviting people to situations that could potentially cause arguments, and she likes to say, well, you want to try to fix the situation, then you can come over to so-and-so. She wasn't invited, so why would you tell her to come over to the shop? You know, that's why I'm starting to side eye Mimi, as though it's like your relevancy on this show now is just to stir up mess. You're not peacemaking. You're not pulling people together. You're literally causing more of a wedge between these people. And I don't see why she don't see it. But maybe that's her role on Love and Hip Hop. You know, I don't know. Pooh walks in and she seems like, she's like, you know, I see that y'all didn't come to my cocktail party or whatever. And so we start talking about BK and how he actually came on to her. She didn't come on to him. And then Sierra was like, but you a whole married woman. And you know what I mean, you shouldn't be entertaining that, but it's cool because I'm good on him. I'm not even with him no more. It's cool. So then they start, Sierra ended up calling her a stripper hoe. She gets in her feelings, so then she's like, I'm not a hoe. So then she ends up calling Sierra a hoe. And they go back and forth. So Tokyo inserts herself into the drama. She throws the lampshade over at Pooh. And then Pooh walks out. That's how the scene ends. Rasheeda and Kirk are winning right now. They got pressed Houston, Texas. They got pressed Atlanta. They got pressed online, and now they're also trying to do a bistro. It's going to be called Frost Bistro and Bar. And so they're, you know, having a good time. They're walking around this potential space that they're going to rent out, and they're just feeling themselves. Well, Kelsey walks in and she's talking to her dad and Rasheeda about the fact that she wasn't able to pick up isn't that Cameron? I can't remember the little boy name. Camden or Cameron. Okay, so she's over there and she's going to, she was trying to pick him up, but he's sick again. She makes sure to say again. Okay, and so Rasheeda's like, well, what's wrong? Is he, you know, sick? Like, is he throwing up stuff? He not able to hold things up? I'm down. Like, what's going on with him? And they're bum rushing Kelsey with all these questions, and Kelsey's like, look, I'm tired of being the middle person here between you and Jasmine because y'all don't want to deal with her. I really think y'all need to suck it up and deal with her. But Kirk is trying to convince Kelsey that this is our life and this is your job. This is what you need to do. And I completely understand with Kelsey. At one point in time, y'all gonna have to become adults here, and y'all gonna have to deal with each other instead of having me be the one to deal with her. So now we're in the studio with Main Man and Tokyo, and Tokyo is there. She's acting like she's interested in him, but she's really not. She's trying to buy time for Shekinah to come over, because if you guys don't remember, a few scenes ago, Shekinah set it up with Tokyo to where whenever she goes to the studio session with him, that invite me so that way I can come and put him in his place. Okay, now the camera pans over to Shay Mack. She's getting her stuff and she's leaving. She also has this dramatic scene where she picks up a Bible and she blows the dust off of it and puts it into her belongings so that she can leave. You know, that's the problem. You only picked up the Bible when you was going through some stuff, and that's why you're in the situation that you're in. So we go back over into the studio. Shekinah walks in. She's like, yo, you've been cheating on my friend, and what is this? And throws over the condoms. He's like, what do you mean? She's like, and all the condoms not even in there. So you shouldn't counted them. Okay? And so he's like, well, what you talking about? She's like, yeah, you've been cheating on her. Put it on your mama then. Put it on your mama. He's like, look, I don't put nothing on my mama. And that's when Tokyo gets up. She's like, see, y'all shouldn't be using condoms because y'all got a baby. So I know this ain't for y'all. And so, you know, just another awkward situation. He ends up asking Shekinah, why you care so much? This ain't your relationship. And she's like, look, when she came over to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and she's telling me about you, it became my relationship. And I'll see you in child support court. I'm like, girl, this is not your relationship. You are just a friend. You are only there for support. Why are you threatening child support and talking about, well, she packing and she leaving right now. She's moving, so she's not going to be with you right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, this is team too damn much. Like, he don't seem too shocked. He don't seem too bothered. You know what I mean? I think he seemed a little bit relieved to me that she's gone about her way and he can go about his. Real quick, we're at Carly and Mo's house, and they have decided to stay together, so they're both staying in the same home right now. Now, Carly talks to Mo about the fact that, you know, she's going to keep her home because he sold his and they both moved together. Well, she's like, no, I'm going to keep mine because I want to save something for my child. I respect that as a woman because we don't see that a lot, to where we save things for our children, like our homes that we purchase, our cars and stuff like that. So she wants to leave something, but he's like, no, you know, we're going to have to deal with tenants. We're going to have to keep it up. Like, we don't really want those issues, but I really hope that she keeps it. Or called to Harem, which is Pooh's husband, to get him to say whether or not they actually did sleep together. Now, on the phone call that she played, he kept saying, nah, not at all. He never did say y'all didn't sleep together. He just kept saying no. So I don't really think that was your best evidence to prove that y'all didn't sleep together, especially when after that call, you know, Herm and Pooh were talking and he said he don't kiss and tell. But anyway, this pleases your boy Mo, and so Mo is like, okay, cool, I see, you know, this is what happened or whatever. And so we also talk about the Trinidad trip and how she's going to be hosting it, and he's happy about it. He don't want her to forget that she's in a relationship. So don't get out there acting all single. I need you to call me. I need you to check in with me and blah, 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 blah. So Mimi and Pooh go to meet up. They're talking about what transpired at Sierra's shop and how she feels like Mimi did not have her back. Mimi begs to differ because, first of all, you know, how can I have your back when I wasn't there at the cabin with y'all, so I don't know what transpired. Not only that, you're trying to put me in an awkward situation right now, and, you know, I'm cool with all these girls, right? So then Mimi also tells her about the Trinidad trip that they will be having, and she invites her to come there. Do you really want to make it right with these girls? She's like, yes. Well, then I need you to come to the trip. Another thing that I'm like, Mimi, why would you do that? These girls really don't care for her. If anything, she needs to talk about the way, she needs to fix the way that she's approaching these girls in order to get to these girls, because the way she's doing it is all wrong. So Pooh and Harem, they're at their house and they're talking about what transpired between Carly and Pooh. And Pooh is like, look, I want to be cool. We used to be tight. We used to be thick as thieves. But now, you know, she doesn't want to be with me. She keeps trying to say these mad, mean things about me, you know, playing the victim. And he says, while we're talking about Carly, she actually called me. And she wanted me to, or she tried to get me to say that it did not happen. And she's crying, talking about how her daughter actually looks up to me. And she's like, what? Like, that's crazy. I wouldn't guess that she stooped that low. And he's like, yeah, but you know, I don't kiss and tell. So this basically tells me either he lied on the phone, or he's just continuing this lying narrative with his wife. Either way it go, he's insinuating that what he said on the phone was just to save her image to her daughter. He didn't want her daughter to look at her in any type of way. Sierra, Akbar, Tokyo, and Spice actually meet up, and the purpose of this meetup is for them to, you know, get on the same page, apologize, move on. Spice and, or not Spice, we're not going to get to Spice yet, but Tokyo and Akbar, she's like, or Akbar's like, look, if I have a problem with you, I'm woman enough to say I have a problem with you in your face. And I'm telling you to your face, I don't have a problem with you. Tokyo's like, okay, cool. We on good terms, but just know that we're not gonna be friends. And then Spice walks in, and so she's like, well, Spice, what's your issue with me? And then she was like, well, Akbar, you know, you said that we flew here, you grew here, I flew here. So that's my issue. And she's like, did you fly Delta? Basically being sarcastic. And so then she starts to call, and she's speaking, you know, and she calls Spice a bitch. We know that Spice don't like that word. And then Spice is like, chill on calling me a bitch. And she's like, well, you know what I mean, I'm just saying, you know, did you fly Delta? And she's like, actually, I did fly Delta, and when I fly first class. And so it's basically this slick shade going back and forth. Spice ends up taking off her shoes. You know, Spice be with the bullshit. I done told y'all, Spice be with the shits, okay? And so she takes off her shoes. The super security run over and tell her, no, look, hand me your shoes so you don't go throwing nothing. And so that basically happens. The show ends with them going back and forth, and finally Spice, she done got called a bitch too many times. She jumps over the table to try to get over to Akbar. Akbar don't see she did anything wrong. Not only is Akbar being a bitch to her, you know, to Spice, she's also mocking her accent, and it's pissed Spice off. And this is why they ended up, she said, look, Spice is like, I'm seeing you in the streets. And this is pretty much how the show ends. Go ahead, get into the comments, let me know what you thought about this episode, and until next time.
Yeah, low key and maybe high key, I been peeped that you like.